Hey, how's it going? ZmanTheTech here, and I want to thank you for tuning into SnoleyGames. As always, I appreciate you very much. And today, I'm going to be reviewing Hello Kitty Kruisers with Sanrio Friends for Nintendo Switch. It was developed by Scarab Entertainment and published by Scarab Entertainment, Thunderful Games, Lightweight, and Rising Star Games, released on April 26 of 2018, and it's also available on Wii U and Steam with a slightly different name. And this is a racing game targeted for young children and or folks that are learning how to play video games for the first time. This game would definitely appeal most likely to those familiar with the subject matter, and it seems that it would have a niche audience. I took it upon myself to give it a try, as I have 3 younger nieces that might have an interest in it, and to be honest, I like cute things. So there, I said it. Also, the game recently went on sale for the very low price of $1.99, so I figured that this would be a good opportunity to check it out and review it for those that might be considering it. In this review, I'll be giving you my honest, in-depth experience with as much details as possible in a respectful manner to give you an idea of what to expect. So to kick things off, as far as the gameplay, it's a very simplistic and user-friendly approach to a basic kart racer. The speed of the game is considerably low, and there aren't any additional CC levels that can increase the pacing like you would see in games like Mario Kart, Garfield Kart Furious Racing, or the like. There are randomly placed boost pads on some of the courses that do keep it from feeling like the race is at a crawl 100% of the time, though I do wish there were more of them. There are also boost power-ups that you can collect in the item bubbles as well. Speaking of those, I'll touch on that now. The random item selection is pretty light, and I would have liked to have seen at least a handful more. However, for what they do have, it does help balance the race to some degree. Some of them include a pie that you can hold behind you and throw forward, a traffic cone that you can also hold behind you and drop for other racers to hit, a clock that slows down all the other racers, and the boost power-ups that I mentioned prior. The AI is very basic and there is no rubber banding whatsoever, so your best experience is going to be with other human players. This game supports up to 4 players locally via split screen, and there's unfortunately no online modes available, so be sure to keep that in mind. Now, the best aspect of this game in my opinion is that you can race on land, through the air, and on water, something akin to what Diddy Kong Racing offered us so many years ago. You don't really see this too often anymore, and I appreciated the fact that the option was there. Racing on the water does differentiate itself decently enough with the way your racer slides across the surface. And as a side note, you have a similar if not the same use of physics when riding on the ice sheets of the snow-themed levels. Racing in the air actually surprised me. The controls were indicative of standard flight controls that we've been accustomed to over the years, where up is down and vice versa. The movements felt smooth, albeit slow in speed like the rest of the racing in the game, but it was actually refreshing to have there. The air race courses are probably my favorite in the game due to the style of play, though the courses in general are fairly simple and minute. And in fact, they pretty much get recycled between the different race modes, so that's one thing to consider too. Another thing to note is that all the characters and vehicles are pretty much identical when it comes to how they race. There are no stat differences or anything like that. This includes those that you have to earn as well. So unlocking extra characters and vehicles is more or less just something for you to achieve while you're playing through the game. And when it comes to your choice of character and vehicle, it's all a matter of preference. As a final side note, my only other gripe with the gameplay is that the collisions are very poor to the point to where if you're hugging the wall, the camera spazzes out horribly until you separate yourself from it, which can be a real chore sometimes. So yet another area for improvement, but something that could be fixed if the developers wanted to address it. Also, I didn't touch on it much, but there are a few different modes available within the game. Quick Play, which allows you to choose any of the courses in the game to do a single race on, which will be best to play once you've unlocked them all. Tournament Mode, which allows you to play through them in a GP format categorized by 4 different tours. And Adventure Mode, which will have you facing a series of challenges that consist of collecting cupcakes, apples, racing or flying through rings, and testing your skills at beating time trials. I finished everything to completion and unlocked all the content, and I found myself sticking to just the races mostly. As far as the controls, like the rest of the game, they're pretty standard and straight to the point. You hold the A button to accelerate, press B for braking, and hold it for reverse, press L or ZL for item use, and R or ZR for drifting. If you find yourself a little late on your turn while on the curve of a course, the drift really does come in handy, however it does take some getting used to. You don't really need to fight the drift with the opposite direction following with back and forth movements like other kart racers. You lean into the direction you need to drift in while holding the drift button, and you let go once the time is right. Just be careful with it, because as soon as you release it, you're in full control again in the exact angle that you let go, if that makes sense. It's actually even more of a challenge to master it while racing on water and ice, while as in airborne racing it's not so bad. Do they feel like the best mechanics in a kart racer ever? Well, of course not. Is it fun enough to try and master if you're playing competitively with family members? Maybe, it depends. The most important thing is to not go into this game expecting it to play as good as a more premium kart racer like Mario Kart, CTR, or even Garfield Kart Racer for that matter. Again, this is quite literally targeted for small children. Could it have been a more technical game? 100%. I was kind of hoping it would have come up to par with at least Garfield's Kart Racer. However, the more simplistic and user-friendly approach was taken, and I respect that. When it comes to the visuals, they actually don't look that bad at all. Considering how simple the art is in the animations of the show itself, the clean line art was converted to 3D relatively well. The 3D representation of the character models looks accurate, and the vehicles match the art style too. There's a nice range of colors all throughout the courses in the game, and as mentioned prior, it looks fairly clean. I honestly have no quarrel with it. As far as the sound design, the effects are very minimal and they get the job done. My only nitpick is that the sound effect for the drifting is a little obnoxious. Just a little. And the fact that you can still hear the screeching while drifting on water levels is kinda ridiculous, but that's just my inner audio engineer OCD getting triggered and wondering why. Just why? On the bright side, the soundtrack itself is actually pretty decent, and I applaud the composer for going as hard as they did. It's a very upbeat and catchy electronic mix of tunes, and I rather enjoyed it the most. So, in conclusion, do I recommend Hello Kitty Kruisers with Sanrio Friends? On a sale like this one for $1.99? Sure. If you have some young children that are into the subject matter and or are new to gaming, especially the racing genre, yes, I can. Now, at full price for $29.95? Not at all. I know this is a licensed game and that there are fees associated with such a partnership, but the level of quality in this project just doesn't warrant the price tag. If a good bit of the things that I mentioned prior were addressed, then maybe I could see considering that amount in some capacity, but it really could use some polishing. And that's really putting it as respectfully as I can. More CC speed options, more item variation, more courses to race on, stronger AI, and an improved collision detection would really help this game become a much more enjoyable experience overall. Not even just for the target audience, but for the family members that are experiencing it with them too. I think they really have something good here with the 3 styles of racing within the game, but there's a lot holding it back from being as great as it can be. Considering all of this, I feel I can only really meet this game halfway. So, with that being said, my final score for Hello Kitty Kruisers with Sanrio Friends is 5 out of 10. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to drop them down below, and I'll do what I can to answer them to the best of my ability. And if you like what you saw, be sure to hit that like button. It helps out a ton with the algorithm to push my content to others like yourself, and consider subscribing for more content like this. Have a good one. Take care.
Futuristic classic. Time is of the essence. I feel like I have mastered. Futuristic classic. It's always moving forward, so I'm never moving backwards.